Welcome to the deep dive. Tonight is Christmas Eve, and most of us are, hanging stockings and dreaming of sugar plums, but someone out there might be waking up a billionaire.
Yeah, it's certainly a captivating thought, that much money landing in your lap, especially on a day known for giving.
Right. It's crazy. So we're taking a look at this Forbes article about the Mega Millions jackpot hitting $1 billion,
Wow.
the seventh largest in its history.
Wow.
That's insane. And, that got us thinking, what's the reality behind that huge number? What would it actually mean for the winner?
Well, the first thing to consider is that dazzling billion-dollar figure is the advertised annuity amount spread out over 3 decades.
Oh, okay.
If our lucky winner chooses the lump sum option, which most do, it shrinks to a still impressive $448.8 million.
Okay, so a pretty big difference right off the bat. But still, $448 million, that's life-changing money no matter how you slice it.
Absolutely. But let's not forget Uncle Sam wants his cut. That 24% federal tax withholding knocks another chunk off, bringing it down to roughly $341 million.
Wow, so taxes take away over $100 million right away.
And that's just the beginning. Depending on the winner's income and deductions, they could end up in the highest federal tax bracket, which is currently 37%. If that happens, their final take-home would be closer to $282.7 million.
So even though the jackpot is advertised as $1 billion, if you take the lump sum and are in that highest tax bracket, you're actually looking at less than a third of that amount.
Exactly. Taxes eat up a huge portion of those winnings, something a lot of people don't realize until they're staring at the paperwork.
This is where it gets really fascinating to me. We're talking about millions of dollars disappearing just because of how the winnings are structured and taxed. It makes you wonder if the annuity option, despite seeming smaller at first, might actually be a smarter financial move in the long run.
You've hit on a crucial point. The annuity option spreads out those payments over 30 years, which could potentially lead to lower tax burdens each year. It also offers a sense of security knowing you have a guaranteed income stream for decades to come.
It's almost like choosing between instant gratification with a big upfront chunk of money versus long-term stability with a smaller but consistent flow of income. What factors do you think someone might consider when making this choice?
Well, age is a major factor. A younger winner might be more inclined to take the lump sum, invest it aggressively, and potentially watch it grow even more. They have more time to recover from potential losses. On the other hand, an older winner might prioritize security and guaranteed income, especially if they're looking at retirement or estate planning.
Makes sense. It also seems like risk tolerance would play a huge role. Are you the kind of person who would be comfortable managing a massive lump sum, or would you prefer the peace of mind that comes with those regular annuity payments? The big decision with no easy answers.
Yeah, absolutely right. And this is where seeking expert financial advice becomes crucial. It's not just about picking numbers anymore. It's about making informed decisions that align with your financial goals and lifestyle.
So choosing between the lump sum and the annuity is a major decision in itself. But then the article threw in another layer of complexity that I honestly hadn't even considered: state taxes.
Ah, yes, the state tax surprise. What's fascinating here is that it's not just the federal government taking a slice. Some states also want their share of your lottery winnings, and these amounts can vary drastically.
This is where those hidden costs really start to add up, right? So give us the rundown. What kind of state tax differences are we talking about?
Well, the article highlighted New York as a prime example. They impose a hefty 10.9% tax on lottery winnings. If we apply that to our hypothetical $282.7 million post-federal tax winnings, that's almost another $50 million gone.
Wow, that's a huge chunk of change.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if winning the lottery in a high-tax state could actually make you consider relocating.
You're not wrong. On the other end of the spectrum, you have states like Arizona with a much lower rate of 2.5%. And then there are states like California and Texas where lottery winnings aren't taxed at all.
So where you live can dramatically impact your actual take-home winnings. That's incredible. Imagine winning the lottery and then realizing you could have kept millions more just by living in a different state.
It's a classic case of location, 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 and it's definitely a factor worth considering, especially before claiming such a massive prize.
I mean, if I won that kind of money, I'd want to make sure I was getting the most out of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if people actually factor in state taxes when they decide where to buy their tickets.
That's a great question. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of the jackpot. But as we've seen, the details matter. From choosing how to receive your winnings to understanding the tax implications, There's a lot more to consider than just picking the right numbers.
Okay, so we've covered the jackpot, the tax implications, the lump sum versus annuity dilemma, and the state tax surprises. It's fascinating how much goes into this seemingly simple act of winning the lottery. But the article also mentioned something interesting about all the other winners from the last drawing. Apparently, it wasn't just the jackpot that people were winning.
That's right. It seems like while everyone was fixated on the billion-dollar prize, over 2 million people snagged smaller wins. It's a good reminder that there are many ways to win even if you don't hit the jackpot.
2 million! That's amazing. What kind of prizes did they win?
Well, the article highlights 5 lucky folks who matched all 5 white balls but missed the mega ball. They each won a cool $1 million.
Not a bad consolation prize. So even if you don't become a billionaire overnight, there's still a chance to win big. It makes you wonder how many people are walking around with winning tickets they haven't even checked yet.
It's a thought, isn't it? Maybe someone out there is carrying $1 million ticket in their wallet and has no idea.
That's wild. So we've covered the jaw-dropping jackpot, the tax realities, and the fact that there are lots of other ways to win. But the article also mentioned some recent changes to the Mega Millions rules themselves.
That's right. Mega Millions has made some adjustments aiming to generate even bigger jackpots and give players slightly better odds.
Bigger jackpots. That's hard to imagine considering we're already talking about $1 billion. So what exactly did they change?
Well, one key change was removing one of the mega balls from the draw. According to the article, this improves the odds of matching it from 1 in 25 to 1 in 24.
So a slightly better chance of hitting that life-changing jackpot, even if it's a small improvement. What else did they change?
They also increased the starting jackpot amount, which explains why we're seeing these massive prizes more often. They added a new randomized multiplier for non-jackpot prizes, meaning those smaller wins could potentially be multiplied several times over, and they got rid of break-even prizes. Now, if you match the mega ball, you're guaranteed to win at least $10.
So they really did try to make it more enticing for players. Do you think these changes actually make the lottery more appealing?
That's a great question. It certainly creates more buzz with the larger jackpots. And the improved odds, even if they're slight, might encourage more people to take a chance. It's like they're trying to tap into that human desire for possibility, that hope that maybe, just maybe, luck will shine on them.
It's fascinating how these small tweaks to the rules can have a big psychological impact on how people perceive their chances of winning.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you think about these changes?
Well, I think it's a clever strategy on Mega Millions' part. By making these changes, they're keeping the game fresh and exciting, which is crucial for maintaining interest and, of course, ticket sales.
Yeah, for sure. It's like they're adding new layers to the whole lottery experience. It's
Yeah.
not just about the big jackpot anymore.
Yeah.
There are more ways to win and more potential for those smaller wins to turn into something significant. But it makes you think, does that guaranteed $10 win, for example, really change anything?
It might seem insignificant, but psychologically it could make a difference. That guaranteed win, even if it's small, might make people feel like they're always winning something, encouraging them to play more. It's a subtle shift in perception, but potentially powerful for driving sales.
Yeah, like that almost makes sense. That's interesting. It's like that near miss phenomenon they talk about with slot machines, right? Where you almost win and it keeps you hooked. I guess even a $10 win could fuel that feeling of, I'm so close, next time I'll hit it big.
Exactly. It taps into our inherent optimism bias, that belief that good things are more likely to happen to us than to others.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of optimism, the article also threw in a fascinating little tidbit that really got me thinking. It mentioned that back in 2002, the very first year of Mega Millions, there was a Christmas Eve jackpot of $68 million that went unclaimed.
Yes, the case of the forgotten fortune.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even with something as life-changing as winning the lottery, there's always an element of chance of human error that can completely alter the outcome.
I mean, how could someone win $68 million and just forget about it? It seems unfathomable.
It might sound unbelievable, but it happens more often than you'd think. People lose tickets, forget to check them, or simply don't realize they have the winning numbers. Life gets in the way, distractions happen, and sometimes those little slips of paper that could change everything end up lost or forgotten.
Yeah, I guess in the grand scheme of things, a lottery ticket is a pretty small, easily misplaced item. And if you don't have a system for checking your numbers or keeping track of your tickets, it's easy to see how it can slip your mind.
It raises an interesting question, though, doesn't it? What are some strategies people could use to avoid missing out on a potential win? Maybe a designated spot for lottery tickets, a reminder on your phone to check the numbers, or even a lottery pool with friends or family to increase your chances and ensure someone is keeping track.
Yeah, those are all good points. Those are great ideas. It's almost like you need a game plan for winning, not just for picking the numbers, but for what to do if you actually hit it big. Makes you wonder what happened to that unclaimed $68 million. Dollars. Did the ticket end up in the trash? Did someone find it years later and realize they missed out on a fortune?
We'll probably never know the full story, but it definitely adds a layer of intrigue and a touch of melancholy to the whole lottery narrative. It's a reminder that luck is a fickle thing, and sometimes even when it's right in front of us, we might miss it.
It's almost like a cautionary tale, isn't it? A reminder to be present, to pay attention to the details, and to appreciate the potential for both good fortune and missed opportunities that life throws our way.
Precisely. It's easy to get caught up in the fantasy of winning, but the reality is that even with a winning ticket, life goes on.
Okay, so we've talked about the odds, the taxes, the rules, and even the unfortunate tales of unclaimed jackpots. But what I find most intriguing about this whole lottery phenomenon is the human element. It's not just about the money. It's about the dreams, the aspirations, and the potential for a life-altering event.
Absolutely. The lottery, in many ways, is a reflection of our collective hopes and desires. It's a chance, however slim, to break free from financial constraints and pursue the things that truly matter to us.
It's like a tangible symbol of possibility, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, there's always a glimmer of hope. What I'm really curious about is what happens after someone wins. How does such a massive influx of wealth impact their lives, their relationships, their sense of self?
That's where things get really interesting. Suddenly you have access to resources that most people can only dream of. It could open doors to incredible experiences, philanthropic endeavors, or simply the freedom to pursue passions without financial limitations.
It's like stepping into an alternate reality where the possibilities seem endless. But I imagine it also comes with its own set of challenges.
You're absolutely right. Managing that wealth responsibly, navigating relationships, and even just maintaining a sense of normalcy could become significant hurdles.
It's like that saying, mo money, mo problems.
Exactly. The sudden influx of wealth can strain relationships, attract unwanted attention, and create a sense of isolation. It's a lot to handle, especially for someone who may not have had experience managing large sums of money before.
It makes you wonder if there's a support system in place for lottery winners, a way to help them navigate this sudden shift in their lives.
That's a great point. You see the headlines about people winning big, but you rarely hear about what happens after the initial excitement fades. Do they find happiness and fulfillment, or are they overwhelmed by the challenges that come with such a dramatic life change?
It's a story that's often left untold. We tend to focus on the glamorous side of winning the fantasy of instant riches. But the reality is far more complex, a tapestry woven with both joys and challenges.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. The lottery is more than just a game of chance. It's a window into human nature, our dreams, our anxieties, and our capacity for both incredible generosity and sadly sometimes self-destruction.
It's a reminder that even the most fantastical scenarios have real-world consequences, both positive and potentially challenging. It's not just about the money, it's about how that money impacts your life, your relationships, and your sense of self.
And ultimately, it's a story that's unique to each individual. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to how to handle such a windfall. It's a journey of self-discovery, adaptation, and hopefully growth.
Well, I think we've officially gone from lottery deep dive to existential exploration tonight. But seriously, you've given me a whole new perspective on this. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the human stories behind those numbers.
And sometimes those stories are more intriguing than any jackpot.
So true. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this Christmas Eve deep dive.
I agree. We've covered a lot of ground tonight.
We've explored the reality behind the headlines, the complexities behind the simple act of buying a ticket, and the potential ripple effects that a win could have on a person's life.
And perhaps most importantly, we've been reminded that even in a world driven by numbers and odds, the human element remains the most fascinating aspect of it all.
Beautifully said. So, to all our listeners out there, whether you're dreaming of hitting the jackpot or simply enjoying the festive season, we hope this deep dive has given you something to think about.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. And remember, even if you didn't win the Mega Millions tonight, even if you didn't win the Mega Millions tonight, life itself is a pretty amazing prize.
Well said. Sometimes we get so caught up in the pursuit of more that we forget to appreciate the incredible gift of simply being alive and experiencing all that this world has to offer.
I know, right? It's true. But going back to those human stories we were discussing, I'm curious, have you ever come across any research or case studies about past lottery winners and how they actually handled their newfound wealth?
There have been some fascinating studies on this very topic. Researchers have tracked lottery winners over time, looking at how their spending habits, relationships, and overall well being were impacted by their windfall.
Okay, spill the tea. What did they find? Was it all champagne wishes and caviar dreams, or was there more to it?
The findings were surprisingly nuanced. As you might expect, some winners did struggle to manage their wealth responsibly. There are stories of impulsive purchases, bad investments, and strained relationships as people adapt to their new financial reality.
Right. Yeah. It's like that sudden shift in dynamics can throw everything off balance. Suddenly you're the rich friend or the wealthy relative, and it can be hard to know who to trust or how to maintain those connections.
Precisely. But here's what's interesting. The studies also found that many winners used their wealth for good. They invested in their communities, supported charities, and even started their own businesses, creating jobs and opportunities for others.
Oh, wow. So it's not a guaranteed recipe for disaster. It really depends on the individual, their values, and their approach to handling such a massive life change.
Exactly. And many of the winners who thrive seem to prioritize experiences and relationships over material possessions. They focused on creating lasting memories with their loved ones, traveling the world, and pursuing passions that brought them joy.
It's a reminder that money, while it can open doors, isn't the key to happiness in and of itself. It's how you use it, the choices you make, and the connections you foster that ultimately shape your well-being.
I couldn't agree more. The lottery might provide a financial cushion, but it's up to each individual to create a life of meaning and purpose.
You know, it's funny how this conversation started with the Mega Millions jackpot, $1 billion on Christmas Eve. And it's led us to this deeper exploration of human nature, financial responsibility, and the true meaning of wealth.
It's been quite a journey, but I think that's the beauty of these deep dives. We start with a specific topic and end up uncovering so much more along the way.
For sure. Absolutely. We've peeled back the layers of this seemingly simple concept of winning the lottery and uncovered a world of complexities, possibilities, and even a few cautionary tales.
And perhaps most importantly, we've been reminded that the most valuable treasures in life often extend far beyond monetary wealth.
Beautifully said. So to all our listeners out there, whether you're dreaming of hitting the jackpot or simply reflecting on the joys of this holiday season, we hope this deep dive has sparked some interesting thoughts and conversations.
Happy holidays, everyone. May your Christmas be filled with warmth, laughter, and a profound appreciation for the gift of life itself.
Happy holidays. And remember, even if you didn't win the Mega Millions tonight, there's always something to celebrate. Stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.